Hi everybody. Today we are going to talk a little bit about Google Classroom. We're just going to go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing that you need to do is in your little 3x3 square, if you go and you click on Classroom, it pops up. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to just create a class. So when you hit this add button, you have two options. You can join a class or create a class. For most of what we're doing, you're going to be working on creating a class, but you do have the option to join this EdTech Google Classroom as well, and we'll get into that. All right, so when you create a class, the only thing that is actually required is the class name. The section, subject, and room are really just other identifying information, so we're going to just leave it at Miss Whitley's class, and I'm going to hit create. Okay, and so this is what a freshly made Google class looks like. There is absolutely nothing in any of these tabs. So stream is exactly like a Facebook feed. So all of your most recent posts will start here at the top, and then you can also pin important posts to the top so that way students can access those at all times. And then you have classwork, which is where essentially all of your classwork would go. And people are your teachers and your students. So if you have a teacher who is helping you or two teachers are working together, you can both be teachers for this classroom, and you can add students. So you can either invite them by hitting invite students and typing in their name or email. So in our domain, you can just type in their name. If you have their emails, it's a little bit more specific, so it's easier to find. And when you do this, make sure that you are only ever using KUSD emails, because otherwise students can't access them and you can't communicate with them. But you can also just give students your class code, which you can also see over here. So you can make it bigger. You can kind of show a lot of different people. You can send this to parents or staff or anything like that, and they can kind of all join this classroom. But that's how you get people. That's how you get your students invited. That's how you get them here in the class. You also have grades that will show up when you have students and when they've turned in assignments and everything like that. And I'm going to pop over here to settings. So these are the classroom's settings. You can change them at any point in time, and you can kind of decide what needs to be added or what needs to be taken away. But you adjust your settings however you want. You just hit save, and now all of those changes that we made are saved. But since this is just a blank classroom, it's a little bit hard to kind of see how all of that works. So we're going to hop over to one that I have set up ready to go. Now, already it looks a little bit different. The stream actually has things in it. The other thing to note is that this is a training classroom, so it is open to KUSD employees who want to kind of get in there and see what exactly a student would look at, how it kind of plays around, and it's going to have some tips on there that I just frankly can't get to. And so I'm just going to kind of run through a couple of basic things, and this will just flesh out that learning, that training. You guys can at any point go to classroom.google.com, and when you hit that plus sign, you hit join class, and you can just type this in, and then you guys can kind of get in there and play around with it. Most of what you are going to be working through, both as a teacher and as a student, is going to be in class work. This is all separated out by topic. Again, you just add this hit create button. You can create a brand new topic. Let's just call it English 101. So that gets added as a topic. Now you can leave it here at the top, or if you feel like, hey, maybe this is a better thing to cover later on, we can cover it later on, right? And so you create these topics first, so that way when you add assignments or questions or materials, you can add them to these topics. And again, you can kind of, move some stuff around. So maybe inviting and communicating with students is a little bit more important than materials in Google Drive. And you just click on it and drag, and you can kind of drag it wherever you want it to go. So one of the biggest things to make note of is this Google Drive. Google Drive in this context is not one that students have access to, and that's a very good thing, because if they did have access to it, they could alter each other's homework assignments or anything like that, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so when we go up here to the class drive folder, this is something that is only viewable by the teacher. So we have all of these kinds of things, all of these materials in here. These will not be accessible by students, other students. They cannot see this It's very important that you post things as a material. To create a material, just hit create material. Tips for creating materials. You can add all these descriptions. So this would be where you would kind of explain, hey, this is what this material is. This is how you're going to use it. And then you're going to hit add. You can do it from your Google Drive because that is why we set that up. We're going to add tip number 3. All right. Cool. So when you have it all set up the way that you want it to be set up, you can go over here and you can pick which, if you have multiple classrooms, which classroom you want to create it for. We're leaving it here. And you can even pick whether it's to assign it to all students or if you just want to assign it specifically to one student. But we're going to leave it on all students, and then all students get it. Now, here's where you get to pick a topic. But I have found that it's easier to just create all your topics first and then add materials and assignments and questions to those topics. So we're going to add it to the topic that we created. And then you just hit post, and cool. We have now a material in Tips for Creating Materials.